Today we're going to be doing a level up video, and I thought about doing this video after posting a casual video, and David Fujimara went ahead and commented saying that he missed the old, talk, the Git Good mentality talk. And so today I think it'd be just a good time just to go through the Git Good mentality, or just, how I perceive it when it comes to the Dragon Ball Super card game, getting better at the card game, honestly, getting better at anything. And today we're just going to be taking a look at just ways to continue to get better at the game using this mentality, and then help you get out of the mindset of only looking at the game strictly from the standpoint of being able to play whatever you want, and really kind of breaking it down and making it almost like a science or something that you can research or spend your time on. Because that's one thing that's kind of cool about this game, is that the more time you invest, the better you're going to get at the game, because the game is very easy to learn but also very difficult to master at the same exact time. So this is going to help put you in that right direction. So let's get started. The first thing to talk about is the Get Good mentality. Is honestly, it comes depending on the format. Is this a tier 0 format? The answer is right now is no. But the reason why I ask this question is because if a format is tier 0, that means that there is one strategy or deck that is just supremely better than anything else that you could possibly play. And so that kind of takes away from the Get Good mentality, because there's not much you can do when, say, for instance, Hurrigarn Storm was at the full extent of its powers. So you either had the option to get good or just play the same exact strategy and be the best at playing that same exact strategy, which a lot of people did, leading to the results of the first nationals that we ever had, with it being a Storm mirror in the finals of the event itself. So right now, though, we're not in that world. There's plenty of decks that you can play, plenty of choices to make. There's plenty of different reads that you can make on a metagame and be able to shift and adapt and make your way to achieving that result you're looking for. The problem is that right now, with everything that's going on, people are uninspired to play, or they feel like they can't play whatever they want to play, so they don't want to play. And that means that, honestly, you need to either do a few things. Either take a break, or you need to actually spend time getting good. And the first step of getting good is honestly paying attention. Weekly events are happening, and content is still being produced. Every single day you get YouTube videos, you get Patreon articles, you get all these things that are helping you to improve, and also you're getting all this data continues to be presented to you. So all these tournaments are happening, and the problem is people do a few things. They either complain about something, or they don't like something, or they wish something was what it wasn't, but that's not the case. And a lot of people, I understand that people find enjoyment in different ways, but learning how to do these certain things, you'll be surprising, ends up becoming something that's fun for you. Just because you're taking something that you love, which is the Dragon Ball Super card game, and you're learning more about it. So you're constantly theorizing and thinking and all these things. And that all starts with paying attention. So making sure you look at the weekly event results, making sure you look at all the conversations that are happening online, and just paying attention. The next thing is just always learn. So there are takeaways from every game that you watch, also every game that you play. And then a lot of times you just aren't asking the right questions about what's happening in the game or what you're doing. So making sure you're asking questions about, how does the game feel? How does the matchup feel? Does the matchup feel really lopsided? Does the matchup feel even? Does it feel close? And then asking yourself, why does it feel that way? Or what happened that caused me to win the game? What happened that caused me to lose the game? Looking at your games on a turn-by-turn basis to see where you could have made improvements in your efficiency, where you could have made improvements in your decision-making, and taking all of that information that you're accruing from either watching a game or playing a game, and then being able to apply it as you move forward. So just always learning, asking yourself about, what about the deck that allowed you to, what about the deck that allowed you to win? What about the deck made it easier for you to lose? All these questions are valuable, but the problem is we don't take time and ask these questions. We don't try and get better by asking these questions or by trying to learn. We are just hoping for some magical recipe, which is a tier 1 deck. We all just net deck the best deck and then try and learn that deck and try and win. It doesn't work that way. The next thing is always adapt. When you're not in a tier 0 format, the meta is always going to evolve. And I'm going to go over examples of that here in a second. And then you should too. If the format's changing, if people are playing different cards, if you're seeing that different decks are winning, you need to prepare to always adapt. And that when you have this downtime right now, when people aren't playing, a ton of people aren't playing all the time, or you don't have an event to go to, spending time stepping outside of your comfort zone, learning these new decks, these new archetypes, these new strategies, playing something you never played before, making sure that you can always adapt on the fly to play whatever is going to be the best option for that week is how you're going to find a lot of enjoyment right now. Because since all the competitive decks kind of live in this spectrum, there's like 5 to 6 really competitive decks right now. Being able to learn all 6 and pivot from week to week is going to help you not only learn the deck, learn the matchups, learn the strengths and weaknesses, but then also it's going to help you be able to find that stuff that might not be being played or talked about. You're able to then adapt, start implementing it, and then you're going to see some success that way. So making sure you're always ready to adapt. Next thing is recognizing the shifts. So shifts in a format, this is very important. Shifts in the metagame, shifts in the way people are thinking. It's really important to recognize 3 key things. The machine. So what are people in the community saying? What are they complaining about? What decks are they posting online? Ask these questions. Write down the answers. People in the community are talking about surge leaders, how surge leaders are so busted, right? And then when you start looking up all the different decks that they're posting online with these surge leaders, you can start to notice different things they're doing, whether if it's correct or incorrectly, and you can start to pick apart the holes in their arguments, because it's like, they're saying that X deck is absolutely snap, but they're building it in a particular way where they're susceptible to a different strategy being better than it. And then what are they complaining about? Hand destruction's too strong. Okay, well, hand destruction died really quickly, right? So hand destruction was really good, but okay, everyone just plays apes, everyone plays predation, everyone plays draw twos. And they find ways to be able to beat hand destruction. Or you just limit the ability for hand destruction to be able to use the combo step defensively. Well, that's how you beat it, right? So the machine says all these things, and it's really important that you use the machine as kind of like just like the first layer of information that you have. It's not the most important, but it's the first layer. The next is the results. What is consistently doing well? What cards are and are not seeing play in top deck lists? We talk about it all the time on 3 Street Productions and all of our streams, all of our videos, but a lot of people right now still aren't playing the stuff that we have talked about, or the card. They're not playing the cards that would help them right now, or the strategy that would help them right now, and they're just relying on past information. So much so they're not actually evolving, they're just reading the past. So when they're looking at results, they're looking at results in the matter of, well, this one, so I'm going to play this week, instead of, well, this one, so I'm actually going to go against it with this week and try and capitalize on it. So the results are telling you a story. What consistently does well? Surge decks consistently do well. Boo's consistently doing well. Beerus is now consistently doing well. And so being able to take a look at it and then analyzing that information, and again finding out, where are the holes? If everyone's playing mid-range strategies, then what's the hole? What's the weakness for those? And then being able to capitalize that the next week, all while taking into account the other decks that are doing well too. So making sure you're paying attention to machine is your first layer. Your second layer, one of your more important layers, is the results. And then of course the last thing is the truth. What is your data telling you? What is your testing telling you? How are you factoring in the data from the machine and recent tournament results? So when you're testing, like for instance, our testing is telling us something completely different about the format, or something that's way different than people are actually thinking about or doing right now. How are you then taking the data that's going on in the real world, the machine and the recent tournament results, and then applying it to kind of find that truth, find that middle ground? Because 3 Street Productions, we may have like an ideal way that the format looks, or we may think that it looks one way, but if everyone else in the game or the community is on the other side, then the truth is somewhere in between. The truth can't just be one or the other. It's a mixture of both. So yes, we may think that X is trash, or it's not good, or not worth playing. If the community's playing it, then that has to be accounted for. So between the machine and the results, which are your first 2 layers, the truth is the most important. Taking time to discover the truth is the challenge that I have for everyone today, because when you don't discover the truth, you end up falling victim to people that do. So make sure you are following the truth. So again, the machine, the results, the truth. Now, let's take a look at the past few weeks, because this is actually something that's really interesting and will help you guys with that mentality of how to read certain things. So, for instance, go to the very first PPG event that was won by Gohan Aggro. Gohan won the event, right? Ran through a lot of people, had a really great showing, beat Piccolo in the finals, things like that. So what happens when Gohan Aggro wins the event? Well, mid-range and good strategies become better, along with leaders that are invulnerable, Jiren and Surge. That's a fact. That's what happened. So Gohan aggro wins the event. So the best adjustment to make at that point is then to focus on mid-range and good stuff strategies. Stuff that has really good defense and stuff that plays like towards turn 4 or 5. Decks that rely on extending the game to turns 4 and 5, not dying in the first 3 turns. Okay, well then boom. 2 weekends in a row. Blue, red, yellow Surge Coup wins back-to-back weekend events. Shout out to Andrew Duvall. Strategies that either limit the combo step or focus on playing a longer game become better. If you were not attacking Surge Goku, right? If you're not attacking them, you are limiting the how they can be the most effective possible, because they are the most effective when they are getting to use the defensive combo step to deploy their Raider's War Cry, to deploy their arrival cards, etc. That's how Surge Coup wins, is just by being able to abuse the combo step and, punish you for being someone that, wants to progress the game in the first couple of turns. They're just going to punish you with all these different cards and then put a ton of pressure on you without having to spend cards on their turn. So that's how Surge Coup wins. So strategies that limit that or focus on playing the longer game become better. The next weekend, Beerus wins the next weekend event. So the reason why Beerus wins is because Beerus doesn't have to attack to draw cards. So since Beerus is limiting the number of combo steps that Surge Goku has, then boom, Beerus instantly becomes the better version of the deck. If you put him in a head-to-head, one has to attack, one doesn't. So the one that doesn't have to attack is always advantage, because they're going to be able to use the arrival step, the rival cards better, combo step better, all these different things, just because their leader doesn't have to attack. So already right there, that's evidence of what happens. So Beerus wins. So the next thing is strategies that provide fast and consistent pressure within the first 3 turns become better. Beerus doesn't have the ability to stop himself from taking damage. Doesn't have access to using these surge abilities to, pump himself up to 25k. Doesn't have all that. So then what happens the next weekend? Boo wins the next weekend event. And so now, with Boo winning, hyper-aggressive strategy, goes wide, many attackers, right? What gets better is decks that can play heavy hate while still having a solid game plan become much better. So decks that are playing Unexpected Turns, Amasa Super Combo, Bergamo, Flying Nimbus, Topo, Hatchiyak, all become way better because of Boo's success. So then what happens at this past Wednesday event? Hatchiyak wins the Wednesday event. So it's just every single week there's development, there's changes. So when you guys are bored, or you guys are thinking that the format is stale, or you think something is wrong with the game, this is evidence that this is not the case. Yes, I know people are willing to play a little bit loose when it comes to their strategies for these tournaments on a weekly basis, but the proof is there, the results are there, and the conversation is there too. We're just not paying attention to it. So Hatchiyak wins the Wednesday event. So the next thing to talk about is, where do we go from here? Well, absolutely no one, including myself, paging Dr. Pat O'Neill. Where are you? We need you. So Android 21, it sounds crazy, but Android 21 is a fantastic pick for heading into this weekend and heading into next week with these, strategies like Hatchiyak, or these strategies that are trying to punish aggro still being out there, or even these strategies that want to play multicolors being out there. People still want to play these decks. So what's the best way to do it? Play a leader that doesn't utilize the combo step. Android 21 just gets to passively draw cards. Use a leader that gets to untap energy. Use a leader gets to ramp. And then also, of course, Violent Predator is amazing right now. If anyone's playing any sort of mono black strategy, Violent Predator is an insta-win once you get there. And then, of course, like I said, Hatchiyak, it's an auto-win. Think about all these different strategies right now that aren't able to interact with Android 21 that much, because the leader doesn't have to attack to draw or accrue advantage. And the leader's so hyper efficient when it comes to energy. Your sideboard is very easy to move around, be flexible, get cards in the main, get cards on the side that are going to be better or worse. And so in general, this week, I think that Android 21 is an amazing pick because of what people are playing. When people are trying to play these decks that are hating at aggressive strategies, or they're, now they're playing these slower game plans, decks that go over the top and have a win condition like this get much better. And then, of course, I will continue harping on this until the end of time. Absolutely no one in the entire world. Time to turn the tide, bruh. This is with Surge Goku. The deck is very strong, very consistent, stays alive, does everything you want to do in the current format. And it takes advantage of people playing these slower strategies that are trying to stop aggressive decks, trying to win the game, turn 4, 5, 6. Punish those strategies. Punish people for doing that. Make the format reads and take time and get good. There is plenty of room to adapt. As you can see, the card choices have just changed so much just because of the results that have happened. Like I said, go on aggro week 1, Surge Coup the next couple weeks, Beerus wins, Boo wins, Hatch wins. Like, it's a revolving door because people are taking the time to get good and make these shifts, making sure that you're always paying attention to the data that's out there, always learning from your games that you're playing, asking yourself the right questions, and then of course always adapting. This is how you get good. This is the approach, and making sure you're paying attention to your data sources, the machine, the tournament results that are coming out, and then of course your own data, the truth, finding that middle point between what everyone else is saying and what the results are saying, and then what your data is bringing you, and just finding that middle point that creates the truth. That's how you're going to continue to get better on a daily basis, and I challenge you to get good. If you haven't yet, if you haven't started, if you are having a hard time trying to enjoy the game right now, spend time getting good, and I can assure you, you will enjoy the game at a much deeper level. Remember, getting good is about the results. It is about finding the best way to generate results, and the best way to do that is by making these reads, spending the time, and capitalizing on these metagame shifts. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you learned a lot. Hope I didn't harp on you too much. But anyways, thanks for paying attention. Thanks for learning. Hopefully you can adapt from here. Okay, thanks. Bye!